The storm had buried their world in white silence. 7 cubs lost beneath the avalanche, their mothers keening in the dark, the kind of grief that even gods wouldn't dare disturb. But then, through the blizzard, a figure appeared. A human. Frostbitten, staggering, half dead, yet carrying life in his arms. 7 tiny shapes wrapped in warmth and willpower. That night, the galaxy learned something terrifying, that when a human decides not to give up, not even nature itself can say no. If that opening gave you chills, stay with us. What happened next isn't just survival. It's proof of what makes humanity legendary across the stars. Hit like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who still believes courage has limits, because this one will make you question that. The wind screamed through the mountain pass like something alive, a dying god mourning its own fall. Rehea, the Packmother, stood at the entrance of the den, her 6 eyes staring into the blinding white beyond. Snow erased the world one flake at a time, swallowing every track, every scent, every memory of her cubs. Behind her, the pack huddled close, their fur glowing faintly in shades of blue and green, the Kylothari colors of grief. They had dug until their claws split, and their muscles gave out. 7 cubs, gone beneath the avalanche. Rehea's breath came shallow, her chest cavity pulsing with light, the biological rhythm of heartbreak. She'd given the retreat order 3 cycles ago, but the guilt still gnawed like frostbite. What kind of Packmother abandons her young to the storm? Torvin, her lieutenant, broke the silence. "We must seal the den," he rasped. "The storm grows worse." Rehea turned away, unwilling to give the order that would make their loss final. But then, something moved in the storm. A faint shape, too tall, too upright to be one of their own. Her claws unsheathed, her eyes narrowed. Something was coming, through a storm that should have killed everything. At first, Rehea thought her eyes deceived her. The storm had a way of shaping ghosts from snow and wind. But this shadow, it moved, steady, relentless. Each step forced against the screaming gale as if the blizzard itself couldn't convince it to stop. "Something comes," she growled, her body lowering instinctively into a defensive crouch. The pack stirred behind her, weapons raised, spears of sharpened bone trembling in the cold. Anything walking through that storm could only be desperate or dangerous. Then through the veil of white, the figure broke free. A human. Logan Ward, the stranded one from the crash site down valley. His face was ghost pale, beard crusted with ice. The synthetic layers of his strange earthcloth suit were torn, frozen solid against his skin. He staggered once, catching himself against the snow. Rehea's heart hammered. Humans weren't built for this world. Even her kind struggled in the cold, and yet he kept walking. And then she saw why. Something was strapped to his back, a harness, bundled against his chest, beneath layers of thermal blankets. Small, trembling shapes. 7 of them. Her heart stopped. The cubs, alive. The world froze around them. For a heartbeat, even the storm seemed to quiet, as if the mountain itself held its breath. Rehea stepped forward, disbelief clawing through her chest. Logan's lips were blue. His breath came out in ragged clouds, and his hands shook violently, still clutching the cubs close. "Thought you might want these back," he rasped, voice barely a whisper beneath the wind. The pack erupted. Mothers cried out, wild, broken sounds of joy and grief colliding. They swarmed him, trembling claws lifting each small body, checking, counting, pressing their faces to warm fur. The cubs mewled softly, eyes wide but alive. Human technology had kept them warm, his heat, his blood, his will. Then Logan collapsed. His knees hit the snow hard, body spent, breath fading to nothing. Rehea lunged, catching him before his head hit the ground. "You fool," she whispered, shaking, light flaring wildly in her chest. "No creature survives 3 cycles in that storm." Logan's cracked lips twitched into a faint smile. "Humans are stubborn like that." And then he went still, ice clinging to his eyelashes. the storm howling over him like applause. They dragged him inside the den, a fragile, frozen thing surrounded by giants of fur and heat. His clothes were stripped away carefully, his skin pale and trembling under the bioluminescent glow of a dozen Kilithari bodies pressing close. The pack shared warmth like they shared life, a pulse of heat and heartbeats merging. Logan stirred weakly as sensation crawled back into his fingers. Rehea sat beside him, studying that strange human face, so soft, so mortal, and yet somehow indestructible. "How?" she whispered. "How did you find them?" "Thermal imaging," he croaked. "Mapped the avalanche zone, dug with my hands when the gear froze." He flexed his fingers, raw, bleeding, shaking. Took all 3 cycles. Warmed up, went back out. Rehea's light dimmed with awe. "You could have died." He met her gaze. "They're kids, your kids. What else was I supposed to do?" The den fell silent. Not out of shock, but reverence. For the first time, the Kilithari understood what kept humanity alive across every world. Not claws, not strength, but refusal. By dawn, the storm had broken. Outside, sunlight spilled over the mountains like forgiveness. Inside, laughter returned, cubs nursed, mothers hummed low songs of thanks. And in the center of it all sat Logan Ward, wrapped in alien fur, still shivering but alive. Rehea watched him, her chest glowing the pure green hue of profound respect, a color rarely seen, even among their kind. "You have given us back our future," she said softly. "The pack owes you a debt that can never be repaid." Ogun shook his head, a tired smile tugging at his lips. "No debt," he whispered. "We're neighbors, right? That's what neighbors do." Rehea looked at him, at the small, fragile creature who had fought a mountain to bring life back to her people, and felt something shift deep within her species, soul. Because when the universe said impossible, the human had said, "Watch me." And every Kilithari in that den would carry that truth in their bloodline forever. And that, friends, is how one freezing human rewrote what courage means. Not just for his species, but for an entire world. If that story hit you right in the chest, hit like, share it with someone who needs to be reminded what persistence looks like, and subscribe for more tales that prove, when the galaxy doubts us, humanity just digs deeper. Because in the end, we don't quit. We never quit.